What's up, guys? My name is Ed, and this is Distant Critics. Today I'm talking about the new movie Gladiator 2. Let's just jump straight into it. After his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find the strength to return the glory of Rome to its people. So after so many years, I have to admit I was a little skeptical if a second Gladiator movie would even work, especially knowing that Maximus dies. And guys, it's been 20 years, it's no spoiler. If you guys haven't seen the movie, that's your fault at this point. But then I heard Ridley Scott was coming back to direct, and I know Ridley wouldn't have signed on to this project if he didn't feel like this movie was on the same level, if not better, than the first Gladiator film. And while I don't think it's better, it's definitely a close second, and that's saying a lot because the first one is such a classic. And as they should, this movie borrows a lot of stuff that we loved from the first film, and the result is nothing short of a cinematic excellence. Like when I went to Regal, all I wanted to see was a movie filled with action-packed scenes, A-plus acting, a story that makes sense to make a second film, and just to have a damn good time. And for me, this movie checks all those boxes and delivers a strong contender for probably the best action film of this year. I mean, this is a movie about gladiators, so the fight scenes had to be top tier. I could literally feel myself in my seat gasping and physically trying to dodge the punches as if it was going to help them on screen, but that just goes to show how immersive this film really was. And then that extends to the gorgeous set scenes that make you really feel like you're in 211 AD. And then we move on to the acting, which I was really surprised on how many big name people they were able to pull off for this film. We've got Joseph Quinn, who has been killing it ever since Stranger Things, Pedro Pascal, which, I mean, he's Pedro. And what he does in this role really makes you feel like, oh, there's more to this character than just a ruthless general. Paul Mescal, which I'll give, he hasn't been in the biggest movies, but he's a great choice to play the lead role. And then there's one of the godfathers of acting, Mr. Denzel Washington, which when I first heard he was in this film, I was like, oh, like Denzel in a Roman accent? But no, he still has his Brooklyn accent in there. It's one of my pet peeves when there's a set piece movie and everyone else has accents, but then there's just that one person. But you know what? It's Denzel. I really didn't care what he does with this character. This man really takes being a villain to a whole nother level where you eventually see where his point of view comes from, but he's so diabolical, there's no room for sympathy for this character. And then that ties into the first film as well. And now the big question for most people I probably see is, do you have to see the first film to watch this one? You know, some people have never seen the first one, or they haven't seen it in so many years. And while I do feel like watching it will definitely add more depth to the story, they do show flashback scenes from the first film, so you're all caught up on the scenes that you really need to know. And yes, I do like the transition to make a sequel, and it also makes sense on why this sequel took so many years to make. Now, sure, there's some nitpick things about the movie, like it being a little too dark in some points where you have to strain to see what's going on in that scene, but to play devil's advocate, I think that kind of goes to the immersiveness of this film, where if you were there during that time, you're not going to have the best 4K, best lighting in every single shot. So overall, yes, I had a really good time watching this film. I absolutely recommend it, and I want to know what you guys have to say about this film. If you like it, if you didn't, whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to have that conversation with you guys. And if you have any other suggestions on movies you'd like myself and Marissa to review, let us know in the comments down below as well. And most importantly, we want to thank you guys so much for joining us today on Distant Critics.